Hello, interwebs. I am Not Your Friend Guy, bringing you another Diablo 2 ladder-centric video. Season 13 was a bit of a banger, with Blizzard shadow dropping the Reign of the Warlock expansion just 9 days before reset. The expansion brought with it a new playable class, the Warlock, toting some new skills and class mechanics, some new items and rune words, and some pretty sweet quality of life improvements. It also prompted a lot of the OG ladder race faces to start making an appearance, with none other than Mr. Llama SC claiming the rank 1 spot in Season 13's ladder race. Following Mr. Llama's rise to the top, he released a bit of a hate me for me video that was focused on clearing the air around topics of discussion surrounding him, his opinions on the new class, the race to 99, the latter being something that I want to address, elaborate on, and in some cases downright refute. So let's jump in. Now, I've already watched this video a couple times. I've got some timestamps written down so that I can jump to the parts that really matter, which are the ones about the ladder and the leaderboard. Maybe I'll give my 2 cents on some of his other topics, and I'll also leave a link to his original video in the description below if you want to go and watch the whole thing. He starts off with a quick Warlock review, kind of voicing his opinions of the current state of the class. And while these takes are totally subjective, because some people think 5k damage is too much, other people think that 15k damage isn't enough, it's whatever. There is a consensus that the Warlock is clearly overtuned at present, but if you're going to release a new character to a game for the first time in 25 years, you can't really risk it being subpar. The one thing that I will say is that Bind Demon is an absolute problem. Once they've fixed some of the buggy things that are not acting as intended, I'd like to see him address that skill. If you want to hear me yap about the Warlock in depth, let me know in the comments section below. Maybe we'll do another video. Skipping ahead, here's where he touches on the ladder grind for the first time. Let's listen in.
Number 2. The grind for 99 I did on softcore because I was not eligible for hardcore. I'm not eligible for the statue because I did playtest the Warlock prior. This was the same thing in Diablo 4. At the very beginning of Diablo 4, they did that same thing with like the first 300, I think was the same. People get on the statue, and every streamer that participated in playtesting any bit was ineligible. I think it's just a good flat thing to do just to cross that out. So my grind for the 99 ladder was on softcore. It was just a fun pride grind thing. Do I think there was a massive advantage by having playtested the character before? A little bit. I think having the 9 days beforehand was enough time that we all kind of like figured out. And honestly, in that 9 days, I learned more than I think I learned playtesting, just because we had millions of people playing the game and testing and coming up with new ideas and strategies and thoughts. So like, I didn't think about using an Ariox and, you know, stuff like that with the build, Echoing Strike, until we got through those 9 days. But yeah, I still had like some playtesting time and experience, so I do think there's a small advantage there, which again is why I'm not like eligible for the prize, but I can still grind. If you want to hate that I was eligible, or like I still ran the ladder, I don't know. I'm gonna play Diablo 2. I like Diablo 2, so I'm just gonna have fun with that.
All right, so as viewers, we kind of need to infer why he's chosen the topics that he's chosen to speak about, but it does sound like people were complaining about his ladder involvement after he'd been playing the Warlock for a while, and apparently that gives him an unfair advantage. That's totally wrong. This take only works if you're able to point to something that only he or other playtesters would have known about or known to do, and that just simply didn't happen. He didn't use any items that only he knew would be good. He didn't use any skill build that only he knew would be good. He didn't deploy a strat that only he would have known about. Everyone saw Worldstone shards for the first time and thought, sweet, infinite tomb TZ. Like, that was just immediate common knowledge. I mean, his strategy of going so fast that he leaves behind his high runes was also not original. Other teams had already done that in the past.
Okay, I'm going to previous game. Apparently, we had a Zod dropped.
What?
Where'd it drop? Took a screenshot.
Oh, Lilo saw it.
It was out of 534.
That shit's gone.
Oh shit!
Oh, goddamn.
Far left corner, cat 4. All right,
Oh wow!
it's time to follow Yi around.
Yeah, I don't think it was on my screen. They must have seen it when you came in.
First ever saw it, and it's not even his. Oh man.
I would definitely say that given the video of his grind, that he gained actual 0 advantage by being a playtester of the expansion. Then he talks about how people are mad that he made Warlock content immediately after the Warlock announcement. I don't know what you people want from him. Like, the dude's a content creator. He's gonna make content. All right, let's move ahead.
Number 4, the grind 299. There's a lot of misinformation going on about this grind. And a lot of people saying like, oh, Llama just got fed Enigma in the first 2 hours and then like pushed, you know, and that's super unfair and all that stuff. Like, the helpful thing is I do have the community and my chat to fill games and to help me out over the time of the run. I also get the trolls that come with it, the people stealing game names, the people hostile in the game, the people that are just screwing around, right? Like, there is annoyance with it too, but I do gain advantage in that way. Every person that is pushing the top 99 on every single race that has ever existed, going back to literally the first Diablo 2 race, has been a community push. Like, that's just always existed. Jerbarb versus Rustbarb is literally the first time Diablo 2 got launched there, and it was just massive teams, Germany and Russia, pushing these 2 barbarians to 99. And I had my community and my, you know, helping me out in this race, and SGA had his team, his German team, helping him out in the race. And everybody, again, that's going for 99 is just going to have that. It's a communal game. Until they put an SSF ladder into the game, you're just always going to have, if you can get 7 friends, 10 friends together, and people to help feed you gear and people to help, you know, be in your games and push you a little bit, you just have an advantage. I think I would also gain advantage even more so maybe in an SSF ladder, because Diablo 2 is my job, and so I don't have to go to a job, so I could like just no life that. But you know, like I think this. But anyways, I didn't have Enigma till day 3 of this race. Literally until level 94, I was without an Enigma. I was teleporting around with the teleport staff. I was teleporting my own bales. I literally was creating pub games at one point. I tele bale 01, 02, 03, and just teleporting straight to bale throne rooms, opening the TP, and just getting whatever basic experience I could from that. It was much less efficient than the organized team, which is why I was about 450 million experience behind at the end of day 2 right there, and SGA was ahead because he had sorceresses teleporting him and dropping him off, and they were feeding him more gear and all that. And so I didn't have those pieces coming in. It wasn't until that I dropped like some gear. I dropped a Perfect Arax. I got some like Eth Colossus Volge bases and some other items that I was able to trade up. And eventually day 3, I traded into an Enigma and then took that forward. So do I think I had an advantage over your average person? 100%. Do I think having the community versus, you know, if like, do I think I could be faster if I just got a group of 10 dedicated people and push 99? Yeah, I think that would be a faster way to go, honestly. But, you know, I enjoyed doing it with the chat. I think it's really cool when 1,000 people get to participate over the course of the whole time, joining your games and doing whatever stuff. And yeah, so overall, the items I got from chat on day 3 were a 35 Spirit, 3 Eldritch Skillers, a Torch and Annie, a Low Rune and Ist Rune, A 5 all-res small charm, a couple like other small charms. My mercenary got geared out eventually. That was pretty late, but eventually got geared with like a fort and Andes. I want to say that's it. Maybe a couple other small things. But it was very nice. Again, I appreciated all that, and I gave back all those items already to the rightful owners.
All right. So this is some of the good stuff right here. The part about Diablo being a communal game cannot be understated. Rank 1 overall is, and always has been, a position that was meant to be achieved by a team or a community and not by an individual player. I've said this 100 times. I'll keep saying it. The rest of the Diablo world needs to figure it out. In Season 1, the Infernal Race, announced and promoted by Blizzard, was not individuals racing against each other. It was players who were appointed captains of their teams, because even Blizzard knows and understands that it's a team effort to get to rank 1. Llama is just bringing it to the surface again. He even addressed a comment in a live stream the day after this video dropped, where the commenter asked, "Hey, is anyone who's trying to race the ladder themselves just SOL?" And his response was, absolutely, 100%. So the thing that's necessary for any aspiring ladder grinder is just to create or join a good team. You can't compete with Llama alone. You can't compete with like SGA and the German team alone. They show it time and time again. So just stop being alone. And look, I know this firsthand. I had to do it. 3 years ago, I created Discord. I got some good people involved, and then bang. In Season 12, we hit pay dirt. It's not the best Diablo 2 player who wins the ladder race, because guys like Kano and Bender Meets Fry are definitely in the argument for best Diablo 2 player, but they don't even play online. It's the team who organizes, strategizes, and executes the best at launch that wins the race. Now, there's an additional underlying message here about the rules of ladder racing. When he starts talking about like the gear and getting chat involved, there's subtext there, but we'll touch on that later in this video. So then he talks about Sunder Charms and new Andy drop rates. Nothing special here. I think Sunder Charms are actually accurately rare. Like, immunities are a big hurdle of the original game design. Something that removes that hurdle shouldn't be abundant. Maybe if they decrease the drop rates of Worldstone shards and then increase the drop rates of Sunders, that might be something I'd be into. If you want to hear some more on that, let me know in the comments. All right, moving on.
Converted Annies and loot. I think the conversion from LOD to D2R stuff is not good. Or from D2R to RotW is not great. I don't love that Annies existed in Resurrected, and like people did like runs over there and got the Annies there and then are converting them and like trading them in this ladder. I don't think that should be possible. I think they should cut that, but again, I'm not the developer of this game.
So this is the first spot where I've got to give Llama some grief. Like, if you're going to say, I don't love that, but as soon as the thing that you don't love becomes available, you didn't turn it down. Like, that's kind of the definition of hypocrisy. Saying that someone doesn't like something and then having that someone utilize that something anyway because it benefits them makes that someone a hypocrite. Now, I don't think he was being a hypocrite on purpose, right? He's just trying to get the chat involved. In the moment, it's tough to refuse help from someone. You know, you're trying to be communal, yada, yada, yada. But our team has refused help many times in the past because we know that where the help was coming from was from a source that we wouldn't condone. Now, the crappy part of this is that oftentimes it means you're going to lose. and it did for us in previous seasons. Now, would Llama have lost rank 1 if he didn't take the Annihilus? Maybe. But, like, that's just a classic do you or do you not have integrity question. So in this instance, got to give some demerits. But we will bring this up later in the video as well. Then he talks about bots and hacks. I'm 100% certain he doesn't do that stuff, so that's a non-issue. But then here is where it gets spicy.
And lastly, JSP. I think JSP is kind of like a necessary evil in some ways.
No. No. All right. We're going to let him get through this, but definitely not.
There's like a love-hate that goes along with it. I've done like at length talks about it before, but I'll give again for the kind of the general summary pieces right here. I don't love JSP in the long run. I wish that there was a different solution that Blizzard had, just like a market in game that worked well and existed, and we could just have that there, and there wasn't this overall like outside market, because you can buy forum gold, and I don't love that, right? But like it transcends the ladders and all this stuff, so it like kind of ruins the idea, right? Because you can just like get stuff from the next ladder. But for a game that doesn't really have a good communal place to trade, and especially trade a lot of high value items and all of this stuff, it is super good. Like I have to give them props for how well it functions at what it does, which is making it easy to just like go and trade. Hey, I just want to like trade in this jaw rune. I just want to get my insight, whatever it is, and have that. And it does a really good job of providing that place. And even like, and there's enough community there as well that it makes it a lot easier. Like I also use Tradery for trading and stuff, but it can be like harder to get trades going over there and stuff. Here you can just have it. And PoE 2 now has that like built-in market, and it's really nice. And I wish we would have something like that in Diablo 2. It's, the old trade just is not efficient enough, unfortunately, for nowadays. And yeah, so again, it's like I understand and value what it does bring, and I've used it for a couple of the like ladders that I've gone up on, and also to like help a couple other people on some of the ladders with it. Because sometimes you're like, I just gotta trade some things. Like I need to go get this thing so I can just have it for this. And if you don't have someone who can go out and farm it, it almost balances the playing field in a way. Where, it's like, if I, let's pretend that I'm someone who has like 50,000 forum gold or something, I could just go and get Enigma day 1. And that balances it with Llama and his community that could go get him Enigma day 1 if they wanted, right? Like it allows everybody to kind of have a similar level playing field of that, where you could get gifted in, and I could use the forum gold, and we could all be kind of there. So I actually do think like there's some help there, but regardless, like I still think overall I wish Diablo 2 would fix it, and that would just be done, or at least improved, by providing a proper in-game marketing space where you could easily have offline trade and all of this, and you could just go and quickly like, all right, I need a High Lords, I go there, perfect, for the High Lords, they want an Ohm rune. Here's the Ohm rune. I got my High Lords. We're good to go. You know, like whatever it is, boom, and I'm off. I think that would like solve a lot of it. But right now, like, what do I do if I want a High Lords and I'm trying to grind? You know, it's really hard. So I think it helps. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good base of all.
All right. We're going to get rid of Llama for this rant. Now, before we get into this, I want to first clarify a couple things. Number one, we are viewing this topic through the lens of the ladder race and the grind to 99. For you non-ladder folk, or for big PvP players out there, I do not expect you to understand or agree with these views. But for the race to the 99, in the ladder context, these are facts. Second, it's very important to understand that when someone says JSP, what they mean is forum gold. The two things are currently equivalent. He couldn't even differentiate them in his video, right? He started talking about JSP and then he started saying forum gold just like it was second nature. And forum gold is really where the problem is. Because from a ladder's perspective, forum gold is AIDS. There. I said it. Needed to be said. Now everybody knows. In a ladder context, forum gold is straight up cheating. It doesn't reset with the ladder. It breaks the TOS because of all the non-game currency stuff, etc., etc.
Etc., etc., etc.
I could go on and on about how bad forum gold is for the ladder, but in the interest of getting through this reaction video, I'm just going to leave it there. If you want to hear that whole spiel, comment section. Something we need to be aware of is that this expansion is probably bringing a bunch of new people to the game. Maybe they're brand new, maybe they're returning after a multi-decade absence. Regardless, we should not be doing anything to encourage people to go use this site, because inevitably what will happen is they will be forced into transacting in forum gold. And that's what we need to avoid. Okay, so JSP is necessary.
Necessary?
Could not be more wrong. This was literally proven last season when the team that hit rank 1 did it without using any forum gold. So right off the bat, totally wrong. JSP provides value. The only value that it provides is it has users. Like, what you like about JSP is you go post something there and you're confident that someone's going to see it. It's going to get looked at. You also like that when you search for something, there's a high likelihood that you're going to find it. But that has nothing to do with JSP as an entity. It just means that that's where the users are. The catch-22 here is that the only reason it has users is because of its forum gold. If forum gold didn't exist, what you would be left with is tradery with users. And that just sounds fantastic. You might even see an increase in the use of other sites like tradery because they look nicer than the early 2000s forum. The problem is, and always has been, forum gold, not JSP as a website. The point he makes about, well, if I need a High Lords and they want an own room and I could just go make that trade, that is not a real life situation. That is a fairy tale. If someone is selling a High Lords, that post is priced in forum gold. High value items are even worse. There's no way you're trading for a Jaw Rune early ladder for in-game items on JSP. Like, tell me you've never attempted this without telling me you've never attempted this. Like, maybe you could do that once the ladder race is over and the season is calmed way down, but you can't get anything on JSP without forum gold for the first weekend. And I know this because we've tried. We know that that's where the users are, so of course we went to go and try and get some trades done. But you can't make a trade there without using forum gold, unless the trade is insanely weighted against you. So no, it doesn't make it easy to trade unless you transact in forum gold. So the props that he wants to give JSP, it definitely doesn't deserve. And we should make sure that as a community, we encourage in-game or item for item trading, specifically on the ladder, right? And the point that, like, hey, trading and grinding is hard. Absolutely. But all you've really done is expanded once again on the value of a team or a community. And all this is not to say that, like, trading is not a problem in this game, right? He says that it's not efficient. He's right. But no one really said it was supposed to be efficient. Like, it's got pros and cons. But that's another talk for another video. If you want to hear that, comment section. So something to note here is that if we were to look at the expansion leaderboard just 2 days into launch, you'd find that the highest level character was level 92. And you would need to go all the way to page 41 to find the first non-sorceress character. Why? They were all bots. No one was grinding XP. Everyone had teleport. The botting problem could not have been more exposed. These items that the bots were finding were 100% traded for forum gold on JSP. I know this because people in our public games would tell stories about how they had to go make an expansion character to complete a trade to then convert that expansion character. Which means you know it was purchased with forum gold. That player wasn't playing expansion, so they couldn't have had items to make the trade with. So now he's talking about how forum gold evens the playing field. And while it's very humble of Llama to say things like this, and that notion might be correct, here's why it's wrong. Llama has invested 10 plus years, blood, sweat, and tears, building his community that he's got. Why should anyone be able to get on his level by spending money? Name one other competitive activity where 10 plus years of time and effort investment can be completely negated by money. After all, the ladder is just a race, which by definition is a competition. I don't care how much you spend on a new set of golf gloves. If you're playing for the first time against someone who's got 10 plus years experience, you're gonna get smoked. And that's how it's supposed to be. If you're trying to grind the ladder alone, you're supposed to get blown out by Llama's community. And other communities, like anyone trying as a team, they're supposed to beat you. What purchasing of gear has done is undermine the 10 years that Llama has put into this community and undermine that anything that any other teams are attempting. The blueprint for competing without cheating is right here. You just need a team and build a community. Now, I'm a bit of a rules lawyer. And if you want to know more about that, there's a link in the description for a video where I lay out all the major rules for racing the ladder very clearly and simply so that everyone can know what they are. And the big question that I keep getting asked about Llama's push to 99, was it legit? That's kind of the point of this video anyway, right? Like if someone says, Llama got fed Enigma day one, a correct response could be, who cares? Then if the follow-up is, well, that's unfair, then another response could be, so what? The implication that a person getting something for free and that's unfair is basically the politically correct way of saying that person's cheating. So I believe that a big reason for Llama making this video is because he wants to defend himself against types of allegations like that. He even talked about other things like bots and hacks, so you know that those types of things were on his mind. Why? He just doesn't want to be associated with cheating. Now, I've watched the streams, and I've even done some additional due diligence and digging. And I think that I can confidently say that this run to 99 that Llama did in Season 13 is probably legit, making it the second fully legit rank 1 level 99 that I know of, the first being last season. If you want to know more about Season 12's winner, there's a link in the description below of the Victory Lap video. Now, while I do think that Llama's run to the top was legit, I've got a couple criticisms. And while I feel like these criticisms are warranted, they don't technically break any of the rules, so as far as legit goes, it probably still counts. Criticism number one is the ante. I covered it earlier, so this will be brief, But being a hypocrite is not actually against any rules. It just doesn't sit well in the spirit of competition. Don't say that you don't love something, and then as soon as that something is available to you, use it anyway. That does lead me to criticism number 2, which is the manner in which the community helps. By his own admission, he's not trying to organize anything. He's just there playing, asking the viewers if they want to jump in when he can use them, things like that. But what this lacks from the viewers and his community is intent. Other teams, like my own, play from the start with the intent of pushing one specific person to the top. Everyone knows the goal right off the rip. But when Llama got his Annie, it was highly unlikely that the character who got it was playing expansion with the intent of giving that Annie to Llama as soon as he got it. It was just kind of happenstance that he was able to help. This is also very likely with whoever gave him the torch, the skillers, all the other items he mentioned in his video. Plus, he had to return all of those items to their rightful owners, which again doesn't really make sense when framing this as a team race. This furthers the idea that they were not trying to find items specifically for him, they just happened to have found items he could use. Now, when our team is running, if anybody finds something, it's not theirs, it's ours. And that means it's going to be put to use to achieve the team goal. That could mean that the push character uses the item. If it's something they can use, they're just going to equip it right away. That could also mean that the item is traded for the next thing the push character needs to gain speed and efficiency, whether that's an item for themselves or an item for even someone else on the team, like a barbarian, to increase horking ability or something like that. And that's the type of team mentality that portrays intent, and that's what the communal game, in my opinion, is all about. That's just what the ladder race is meant to be. Another example of intent happened this season. We played hardcore, and we had someone start an expansion character with the intent of finding and converting fire sunders to provide to the warlocks who were doing the fire builds. They were also going to be available to spawn and kill a D-clone because we correctly anticipated that a walk would happen on expansion before it did on RotW. Now, I will say that it's tough when you've got a community that's actually over 1,000 like his to effectively govern that community. If you accept an item, you can't be certain if it was not farmed by a bot or not purchased from an RMT site or anything that would make your run no longer legit. Our community is smaller. It's very easy to govern. We've also had a very strict precedent on how we climb leaderboards, and we've enforced this since day one. People have even joined and left our community once they found out that their help was being turned down because of these principles. But this does allow us to know that if someone is around and is offering to help, that the intent is there and that the source is legit. So was the Annie just purchased and then converted for Llama? Well, that's the digging I did, and I did find that that sorceress did start expansion at the beginning of the season. However, did a sorceress that was maybe level 70 at the time of the walk actually kill a D-clone and get an Annie? I know it can be done. You need an edge bow, and then it's just pitter-patter, let's get at her. And if you're in softcore, you just take a lot of time. But did that actually happen? Did they hire a clone killing service from a site like JSP? Highly illegal. Maybe they had a friend who also played on expansion and was a clone killer. But did that friend create his character on expansion thinking, yeah, I'm going to kill a D-clone so that Llama can get an Annihilus? These are all the things that when you start looking at them, they muddy the water a bit. It's really tough to say with 100% certainty that a run was legit when the run had so many unknown sources of items. I'd like to see Llama have a little more of a stance when it comes to doing a communal 99 push. He talked about how it was just a push for pride. And if it is about pride, let's make it something to be proud about, you know? In fact, everyone should be looking at it that way. What pride in there is Well, I sold all my gear from the past 3 seasons. I had a ton of forum gold. So this season I was able to buy the first items that went up for sale. And that's why I was able to compete. That said, these are fair criticisms. I can't definitively find anything that I can point to say Llama broke the rules, which means the run still technically legit. So congratulations, Mr. Llama, for your rank 1, level 99, and we'll see if we can beat that new time that you've posted in an upcoming season. That's all I've got for now, and I'll catch you on the leaderboards.